What up, Cucks? It's your boy, the Hater. And, you know, hater at home, by the way. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know exactly how it's possible, but they did it, Cucks. They ruined the return of Roman Reigns already. They had an opportunity to do something cool with it, but they didn't do it, right? Now, anything's possible in the future, but so far, Roman Reigns' return has been lackluster, right? Basically, what's happened, I forget which one of you, I think it was a guy named Days, who's one of my subscribers, so I've seen him before many times. I think it was him, but if it's not him, whoever it is, instead, you know, you deserve the credit, but I think it was Days. And he said, what happened last week happened this week, right? It's the same fucking thing. And then someone else said, the ending of SmackDown was just the alternate ending of last week's SmackDown, right? It's like, you know, when two people fight, it's going to end one of three ways, right? Some sort of stalemate, like, let me at him, you know, like being separated. One person wins or the other person wins, right? In wrestling, at least. In real life, it might also end with someone going to prison. But in wrestling, that's how it ends. So, last week, like, Roman Reigns won, right? And as I said in the SmackDown review this week, Solo Sikoa and his friends won. So then, okay, we have done the two more important permutations. The next permutation is them being separated. And then what? Then they fight again and we see who wins for the fourth time? Like, you know, if you're going to have wrestlers get their hands on each other every 2 weeks, or every week rather, right? Then why do I care about the match? I certainly don't care as to who is capable of beating the other one in a wrestling match. Oh, can Roman Reigns pin Solo Sikoa? I don't care about that because the feud has been presented as being personal. So Roman Reigns should have no issue other than he's going to go beat up Solo Sikoa. But already, in his third attempt at beating up Solo Sikoa, if you count, you know, SummerSlam, he already got his ass beat, right? So they're obviously setting up the idea that Roman Reigns needs backup. So maybe the Usos come back. I don't know. But Jey Uso, I mean, like, if you're Jey Uso, like, you know, the guy that plays Jey Uso, if you will, if you're the actor that plays the role of Jey Uso, you know, whatever his name is, like Fatu, his last name must be Fatu, right? If you're him and they're like, hey man, it's time for the Bloodline, you know, reunion, right? Now, if you're Jimmy, let's say, if you're Jimmy Uso, you're gonna be like, all right, finally, I get to, like, you know, come back to work and make some money, right? But if you're Jey, you're probably thinking the opposite. You're like, oh, wait a second. If I do this, this ensures that I become a lackey, right? Like, I'm gonna be a lackey again. My whole purpose now is to be Roman Reigns' lackey, you know? And the whole thing was the Usos, they, like, you know, stepped away because they didn't want to be lackeys. That's like the whole thing, right? And then, of course, Jimmy Uso went back to being a lackey. But Jey Uso didn't want to be a lackey anymore. That's how that went down. And with all this being said, the question still remains, right? What then? Like, does he stop being main event Jey Uso and become lackey Jey Uso? So, if Jey Uso has any kind of choice, you know, for him, from his perspective alone, like ignoring the fans and, you know, what people might want, for him, the obvious choice is to not do this. Is to not, you know, join the new bloodline, I mean the old bloodline, I guess, with Roman Reigns, right? If anything, Jey Uso should be joining Solo Sikoa's side. Because why is Jey Uso angry at Solo Sikoa, right? These are the things that I know nobody, like, most people aren't smart enough to understand, but, like, you have to explain these things. If you want the storyline to be good, you have to explain these things. And instead of having it happen organically, maybe you have, like, you know, Tama Tonga, like, beat up Jey Uso randomly or something, right? To create some sort of tension. Why would Jey Uso, just because he's a face, he's gonna join with Roman Reigns? Roman Reigns is the guy that made his life a living hell, right? It's the same thing, motherfucks. It's the same thing. What Solo Sikoa is doing to Roman Reigns is exactly what Jey Uso did to Roman Reigns, right? They both tried to leave, and they both tried to become the tribal chief, right? If you remember, there was a time when Jey Uso also wanted the pepper necklace, you know? And basically, his whole thing is like, you know, I don't want to be like a lackey, you know? And then Roman Reigns was like, fall in line, like Jey will do what Jey always does. He will fall in line, right? That's the idea. So it's like, if anything, Jey Uso should be like, you know, I mean, maybe he shouldn't be joining the new bloodline, but he should be like quasi-allied with them in the sense that, like, what's the logic behind him not doing this, right? they have the same goals, it seems. The only difference would be that, like, whereas Jacob Fatu is like basically like a level 7 lackey, Jey Uso would want some sort of equality or parity with Solo Sikoa. Maybe they can talk about it. Maybe they can split the pepper necklace in half and wear it as bracelets. And then maybe Drew McIntyre can steal them both and simultaneously become the guy that like lives rent-free in CM Punk's head while also becoming tribal chief Drew McIntyre with a combined powers of the two Ulufolas. You know what I'm saying? But with all that being said, the actual return of Roman Reigns has gone dry already, right? Because now we've predicted all of it exactly how it's supposed to be. I don't know how they're going to stretch it so far, but basically they're going to have a bunch of little matches, right? Maybe the Usos reunite on SmackDown inexplicably, and then go after, what's it called? Go after the tag team titles, like that kind of stuff. You can do that kind of stuff, right? Maybe the best way for the Usos to reunite would be for Jimmy to join Roman Reigns. That makes the most sense because Jimmy Uso joined Roman Reigns will join Roman Reigns because Solo Sikoa beat his ass, right? And threw him out of the group. So that right there is enough, right? Solo Sikoa took him out. The implications being that Jimmy Uso is the other guy that's been there for a while and he wants to start fresh, so he can't have like someone else want to be co-leader, right? And with all that being said, we can have that kind of situation, and then after that, the Bloodline can beat their ass a couple more times, and then Jey Uso can come and save his brother, because at the end of the days, the bond of brothers is more significant than anything else, right? So we have what we have here. But the Roman Reigns equation, or part of the equation in all of this, has not been well, developed, well established, right? We haven't done that yet. The problem that we have here is that Roman Reigns is, I can't believe I'm saying this because, like, it's like they had him on SmackDown 2 nights in a row, and he hasn't gotten enough screen time. There's no other way to put this, really. Like, he has not gotten enough screen time. And that's just strange. It's like, how are you not going to give Roman Reigns enough screen time? What's the logic? You need to give him the screen time that he deserves in order for him to, like, kind of flesh out what's happening, right? I also think this is just good for business in the sense that, like, you're going to make more money if you do that, right? Like, you're going to make more money if you have Roman Reigns talk than you are if you don't have him talk, and you surely are gonna make more money by having him talk than having him get his ass kicked, right? Not everything needs to be physical. Like, I know I said that the return needs to be physical and less talking, and I still agree with that sentiment, because it's my fucking idea, but not like this. There should be a match. How about next week, next SmackDown? Now, and I'll say this in a second, but next SmackDown, how about we do, like, I don't know, Camacho versus Roman Reigns? But instead what's going to happen is Roman Reigns is going to be gone now. You know what I mean? He's going to be gone. Like he's such a part-timer that they basically, like, they announced that he's going to be there for 2 weeks in a row. 1 week he kicks ass, the next week he gets his ass kicked. Now he's not going to be there next week, which is going to, like, really look stupid, right? Because it's like, if you're there every week, then you must really care about the Ula Fola. But if you're not there every week, you obviously don't care about the Ula Fola. So, what the fuck do I care about who's a tribal chief if Roman Reigns doesn't care enough to show up next week, right? Like, I don't know, even if he's injured, honestly, even if he had a broken leg, he should show up and, like, I don't know, ring the bell to distract Solo Sikoa. Another thing is Solo Sikoa's not wrestling either, so, like, nothing's happening. This feud is basically, like, on hold. It's almost as if Roman Reigns didn't come back at SummerSlam. That's how they're treating it. And if that's how they're going to treat it, why in the blue hell would I treat it any differently, right? Why would I care more than they care about, that kind of stuff? And, like, in order for the show to push forward, we need everything to be moving steadily and forward. And in this case, this is moving neither steadily nor forward. It's moving backwards, right? Like, we're back to Roman Reigns not being there, Because, I suspect at least that they announced that he's going to be there for 2 weeks, and they didn't announce him for next week, as far as I know. So I don't expect him next week. Like, I feel like they would announce him if he were to show up, right? Next week, maybe it'll be like, Cookie Rhodes and Kevin Owens, like, in a tag team match, and they get their asses whipped. I don't know. We'll see, right? But actually, what am I saying? Like, I just said Cody Rhodes is going to be in a tag match on SmackDown. No, he won't. But anyways, the the point being that this return and the entire Bloodline storyline, which has been cooking, as the kids say, for a year now, is shit. It's already boring, and I already don't care who wins. You know? That being said, take care of yourself, cucks.